In this episode we head up the Shropshire Union Canal, otherwise known as the Shroppie. We take in some history at Beeston Castle and then head on up to Chester and eventually to Ellesmere Port to look at the Canal Museum. If you'd like to watch the journey up the Shroppie in time lapse, that's available in Narrowboat Journeys on our YouTube channel. Look for the Shropshire Union Canal journey. And here's a quick intro to Narrowboat Expats. Hello and welcome to another episode of Narrowboat Expats Adventures with Sheepums. I'm Nigel, a British-American expat from Sunderland. My wife and fellow boater Sue hails from Boston, Massachusetts. Along with our faithful companion Sheepums, we're travelling the UK canals in our electric-powered 60-foot narrowboat, Captions. Follow along with us as we explore the canal network's many engineering marvels and discover the new places to visit just off the towpath. Each year, we visit the UK for just under 6 months and record our adventures. We love our life as Narrowboat Expats, and through these videos, we hope you'll get to experience just a touch of the joy, the narrowboat lifestyle, the relaxed pace of life, and the beautiful countryside brings to us. The Narrowboat Expat series follows our adventures as we go from buying a boat to exploring the canals and all the wonderful people and places along the coast. Here we are heading up the Shroppie. One of the places you definitely want to stop is Ellesmere, where the Shroppie Fly serves wonderful food and beer. We're heading up to Beeston Castle, which is right in front of me, so I'm going to turn around so you can see it because it's right there, right behind us. So we're heading up to Beeston Castle. Quite a walk, it's about a mile away from where we're moored, and it's supposed to be quite fun. It's an English heritage site, and we're currently English heritage members, so if we're going to take advantage and go up and take a look. Beeston Castle is one of the most dramatic ruins in the English landscape. It was built by Ranulph, the 6th Earl of Chester, in the 1220s. The castle incorporates the banks and ditches of an Iron Age hill fort. Henry III seized the castle in 1237 and it remained in royal ownership until the 16th century. Around 4,000 years ago, the wooded slopes of Beeston Crag were first cleared as prehistoric people gave up their lifestyle as semi-nomadic hunters and gatherers to create more settled agricultural communities. The first community on the crag was established in the Bronze Age. A defended enclosure of a bank of stone and earth with timber palisade was constructed on top of the hill. The timber roundhouses were built within the enclosure in order to provide housing, storage and workshops. William the Conqueror created the Earldom of Chester to act as a defence against the hostile Welsh princes. It was one of the richest in the land, with estates stretching from Cheshire to Lincolnshire. Ranulph de Blundeville was only a child of 11 when he became the 6th Earl. He spent much of his early adulthood based in Chester, from where he concentrated on his estates in France. When King John lost Normandy to the French in 1204, Ranulph turned his attentions to his English estates, particularly those on the Welsh border. Ranulph pacified Prince Llewellyn of Gwynedd, his principal Welsh opponent, with a series of treaties and the marriage of his nephew and heir, John le Scot, to Llewellyn's daughter. Ranulph was a major political figure at court, a diplomat and a very good soldier. He remained loyal to King John and had a great influence at court when Henry III, as a child, succeeded John. Ranulph, the Earl of Chester, left in 1218 for the Crusades, returning 2 years later. Inspired by the battles of the Middle East, he began to construct a castle of the latest and most modern design. The site he chose was Beeston Crag, on his Cheshire estates. This was virtually inaccessible and in a position to control the main medieval route from Chester and the Midlands to the south of England. The prehistoric defences, although very much eroded, were probably still prominent enough to influence the position of the outer wall and gateway of Ranulph's new castle. He created 2 new enclosures, an inner and an outer bailey. Each had a massive, heavily defended gatehouse and was surrounded by a high curtain wall with protruding D-shaped towers at frequent intervals. These towers allowed the effective crossfire along the exterior of the wall. The inner bailey at the top of the crag had an added extra defence of a rock-cut ditch running around the curtain wall. Ranulph was only able to complete the inner bailey. Unusually, it did not contain buildings associated with a thriving castle, such as a keep, a great hall or kitchens. He built only a small section of the outer wall and a single tower before his death in 1232. When Ranulph's heir, John le Scot, died in 1237, King Henry III seized the castle along with all the estates belonging to the earldom. After Beeston, we headed on up to Chester. Looks like he's going to stop and go to Waitrose.
Yeah.
Or he's just getting distracted. I'm not sure which.
Do that too. I know what I'm like.
So we are here in Chester. We just arrived. I guess we just went past the town line, I'm not sure. Went past the sign that says Chester, the walled city. And we're going past Waitrose right now. We just came down the last lot before the flight into the basin. And we're just heading up to, going past the steam mill area, which I guess is a shopping area here. So it's all very built up. Driving. I can see where I'm going. That gap. got Chester City Walls behind me, somewhere up here. There it is, right up there. And navigation to Chester is not too bad. Lovely views by the walls. You can walk all the way around the city walls in Chester, which is something we enjoyed doing. Definitely worth it if you're staying in Chester. How dramatic is this? It's so impressive. We took some time to walk around Chester. It's very photogenic as a city. In fact, it's one of my favourite cities in the UK. It's just really well preserved and a joy to walk around and see the architecture. There's also a great market hall where sheepums were sitting on top of the boar, and plenty of restaurants, bars and places to entertain. I definitely recommend doing a walk of the castle walls, and you get to see the Roman ruins. You can stop in for a gator bite, enjoy the magnificent views. There's Good Mornings just past the locks, which is where we were. Soon we were heading north from Chester towards Ellesmere Port. Today we're visiting the National Waterways Museum, which is actually splendid. It's really a lot to see and do here. Definitely worth the trip down from Chester, just a few hours down, and we'll take some photos and videos and hopefully compile those into something to explore later. This is the blacksmith forge at the Waterways Museum, and you can see here there are in fact 5 pretty big forges here, and Sheepham's is taking an active interest in the place. He wants to have it. He sees that they do blacksmithing classes and wonders if he can do it. I did suggest that he might get his fur a little burnt and his legs are too short, but he's not having any of it. Well, I saw there's an ICI boat down there.
Yeah, it's a sister ship to the one that this engine came out of.
Oh, okay.
His legs are too short.
Oh. Okay, well, you'll have to help him out there. Perfect. Compound steam engine. There you go, Sheepham's. That's all it did. Oh, Sheepums, you fell off. Oh, landed on your feet. Look at that. I'm loving the climbing wall. Well, here we are on the northern end of the Shroppie, near Ellesmere Port. We're just heading back down towards Chester, get on the Llangollen Canal. But lots of pennywort, you can see it behind me, floating pennywort, and in places it is so thick that it just stops the boat. You actually have to push the pennywort aside or hook it out of the canal. The CRT spends about £700,000 a year just to take things like pennywort out of the canal, because it's an invasive species and it's really hard to get rid of. The tiniest little bit that breaks off can just float down and create a new mat, so it's a horrible thing to get rid of, and it's making navigation in places very difficult. So we've been dealing with some of that. At one point we had to stop and push it out the way with the barge pole. It was so dense. You'll probably see a little video of a heron, or photographs of a heron standing on a mat in the middle of the canal, and ducks. Sometimes they seem to nest on it. We've got some coming up. I'll just show you what's coming. You can just see it here. It's coming up, and I'm going to just try and navigate around it and make sure we don't get trapped in it. So try and do that, hold the camera at the same time. Talented. Oh, you can see it under this bridge ahead. Look how much there is ahead. Lots and lots and lots of pennywort. That's what we've got to try and get through. It's really challenging. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see. Really challenging to get through this stuff and not have it get wrapped around the prop or get out of the way. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed our tour up the Shroppie. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, it's free. And if you'd like to make a donation to help sustain the canals, please consider making a donation to the Inland Waterways Association or the Canal and River Trust. You can use the barcodes available here to find out how to donate. Happy cruising!